Maxie, we haven't had a chance to probably sit down in a while, but it's for a good reason. You've extended your contract with the D's. Now, it's no secret that everyone at the club, all the fans, we love you. Why was it so important for you to show your commitment to the red and blue?
I think in theory my commitment was always there. It's nice to make it more certainty. I mean, every contract I've done the last sort of little bit, my caption has been like, I'm a D for life. So I can't really use that again because I've been using it for the last sort of 5-6 years. But one of my key values that I think I learnt off my parents, I'm presuming you learn most of your values off your parents, is loyalty and perseverance. And they're two things that I see in my life at Melbourne Football Club is being loyal to the people that gave me a chance. So I certainly wasn't screaming as an 18-year-old saying pick me, and they chose to, and then they put walls around me to make me the best athlete and best footballer I can be, and then to persevere to make sure I can get everything I can for that team that gave me that opportunity is probably why.
You've been a really important leader of this club now, 5 seasons. How's that journey been from day one of that captaincy, and how do you see yourself now as a leader? How's it changed?
There's been some testing times. There's been some unbelievable highs. I started with a test. I started with my first game as captain was a game where the season had already been called off in round 1 over at Optus Stadium against West Coast. There was no crowd and we weren't even sure if we were going to be able to cross the border back home. That was a slightly nervous start, I must say. I didn't really know what to say to the group after I lost the coin toss that day. And we lost as well. But then we were able to get in the hub, and I sort of enjoyed the hub. I think I blossomed it in the hub personally as a leader because I felt like I was enjoying my life in there, so I could be the best version of me. And then obviously the rest is history of how it turned into what it turned into for the next season. But I really enjoy leadership. It's certainly one of the reasons why I keep putting my hand up for captain. Is it's one of my passions to be around people, learn from people, study conversations. I've got a diary that I write down majority of conversations I've had with people throughout that day, and it's something that I'm really passionate about, and hopefully stay in that space post footy. I don't know what that looks like, but yeah, it's something I'm certainly passionate about.
Max, we saw George. He was a key pillar in the re-signing announcement. He got to sing the Melbourne song, which, you know, it was the best rendition we've ever heard. How important is it to have your family a part of the red and blue? We see them all the time, Louis, George in the rooms, and Jess. How much do they love the D's?
As much as I think my manager played a great role in this contract, I feel like George was the key pillar. I've got 18 footy songs on my phone ready to upload, and the club came to me after the Collingwood Carlton ones and said, we just can't do this anymore. We can't have George constantly promoting the other brands. And then bang, George got me a contract and I released the Melbourne song. If anything goes poor over the next 3 years, I've got St Kilda ready to go. Got Gold Coast, Giants, he's got every song. But no, I love my family, yes, I do love my family. And one thing you learn as you get older is why you play football. And I play football because the smile it brings to my dad's face, the smile it brings to my mum's face, the phone call I have with my dad after the game. And now my new family in George and Louis, being able to bring George to the game, although he hasn't really loved the idea of 50,000 at the ground yet and running through the banner and fireworks and mascots and whatnot. He'll get there. He talks about it like he loves it, but when he's there, he doesn't really perform. But you can tell that it's going to be great memories for him going forward, and also Louis, when he's a little bit more older, he certainly will enjoy it. In fact, he will be older because I'm here for another 3 years, so he will get to enjoy it, and Jess as well. So they're Melbourne members already, both AFL men's and AFLW, and yeah, it's a full Melbourne house.
Let's hope we can just hear a Louis rendition soon as well.
Yeah, Louis' rendition's a bit different at the moment, and it usually goes at 3 AM at the moment.
Perfect.
So we're just trying to get him going until 7 AM, and then I might be a bit more endearing on camera to him.
You work alongside other leaders in the football club that have been here for a long time, like yourself. What are your relationships like with them, and what do you think they bring to the club?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the leaders we have at this football club. In particular, our senior leaders. So the relationship I have with Goody and the relationship that all the players have with Goody is he's just a great person to have as a father mentor, really. Wow. Being able to lean on him for anything on or off field. And then the senior players as well. So I've had a great relationship with Vines for the last 7 years when he was captain. In those 2 years that I was vice, and then the 5 years I've been captain, he's been vice. It hasn't felt like much has changed. I feel like the two of us have just led the club for the whole time, along with a few other key leaders in and around the older guys like Stephen May, Jake Lever, Track, Angus Brayshaw, Alex Neil-Bullen, Jake Melksham. There's been a real good crew of senior leaders, and now we're getting some young guys come through as well. So Jacob Van Rooyen's got real leader written all over him, and I'm sure you see that when you watch him play. Tom Sparrow, similar, Trent Rivers. So there's some guys out there that are coming through in terms of leading as well, which is great.
In terms of like the future of the footy club for the next 3 years that you're going to be here, do you feel that pressure for that, external voices saying that, we can see that there is potential there? Do you feel pressure as a leader of the football club?
One thing I've learned is sort of why you play football, and the premiership was one of the greatest days of my life, if not, I've got 2 kids. It was a great moment, but come round 1 the next year, I forgot that moment. I was back in the now. And that's one of the key things about ending this year, so Gold Coast Collingwood to finish, is the happiness is where you are at that point. So what I've learned over the next 3 years is I'm literally just going to live in the now. We may not get there, I hope we do. We may not get there, but there'll be a lot of happy times along the way. And this country, this city, loves football, and your Monday is dependent on what your team does on Saturday. And we have 23 opportunities every year to put smiles on people's faces, and in particular my family. My mum and dad, their first 3 days of the week after a win is unbelievable compared to the other way. So that's what I'm excited to do. I'm excited to still be playing football, doing something I love, and being able to change moods on a weekly basis.
I'm sure the Melbourne faithful will be looking forward to that. What does the Melbourne faithful mean to you and the playing group as a whole? Because, they're pretty diehard.
Yeah, they are pretty diehard. I remember peak Melbourne faithful was 2018 for those 2 finals at the G, and that we were able to get against arch rivals, Geelong and Hawthorn. That was peak Melbourne for me. Obviously the 2021 stuff, which was interstate, was pretty peak as well, seeing the support from back home, but have 100,000 pretty die-hard Melbourne fans at those finals. That's what I always come back to. In the dark days, you can still remember some of the days when we were 0-9 and Melbourne fans are still turning up. It's a pretty cool team to play for. I'm very, very lucky. Just the history around it, the fact that we're relevant, the fact that we're always talked about, the fact that people demand high expectations from us is something that I want to be a part of. And we're a big club. We're involved in a lot of big things. Friday night this week to end the round. We were there at opening round. We've been in finals the last 3 years. I think AFL starts to notice us as a big club, and I've always wanted to play for a big club, so I'm excited.
You mentioned Friday night, final game of the home and away season against Collingwood, big one. How much faith do you have in the group that you'll bring that Melbourne brand of footy and show that to the Demon faithful?
Yeah, well, I'm very strong on the fact that you can't just turn culture on and off, and I'm talking both on and off field, but in this instance on field. You can't just go out there and play a completely different game style because it's the last game of the year and you're not going to come up in vision on the Monday review. You can't give up on years. In 2020, at the back end of the year, we played Essendon and GWS in games that looked like they were dead rubbers. We ended up giving ourselves a chance because we won both those games, but it looked like they were going to be dead rubbers. And we won both those games playing the Melbourne way, and we led us to a really good off-season, some conversations that we had over the off-season based on those 2 games. And then that led us to what we did in 2021, winning our first 11 games and then going on to be successful in September. So the learnings we get from these games, playing our way, playing the Melbourne way will lead us into a really strong off-season and a really strong pre-season, and hopefully a very similar year to 21 and 25.
Want to see more from the D's? And don't forget to subscribe up here.